Loud. Okay, guys, so we're joined by Shirley Foley, who has a physiotherapy clinic in Sligo, Ireland. So Shirley's been working with PracticeNav for coming up on a year now. So I just wanted to chat to Shirley today just to see her experience of working with PracticeNav and how she's found the process, really. So Shirley, thanks for taking the time out to chat to us. Just maybe do a quick intro and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, hi Colin. So I'm Shirley Foley. My business is Northwest Physiotherapy here in Sligo, and I've been in private practice since 1980 in Sligo here. Before that, I was in private practice in Dublin for a couple of years and in the HSE, and I found the grounding that I got when I was in Dublin for the 3 years that I was there with two very successful practices really set me up for setting up my own practice. And I think really everyone should probably work in a private practice if they're thinking to set up their own practice for maybe 2 or 3 years. And it means that when you set up, you don't waste money spend buying things that you don't need, and you know where to source equipment and everything from stationery to receipt books. You know how to set them all up. So I initially started off working actually in my own house in a spare room, and then in 96, I think it was, I moved into this building. I bought this building and got a planning permission then to convert it into practice on the lower floor and then residential upstairs. And I've been here since. And I've always had other physiotherapists working with me, maybe 2 evenings a week initially. And then about 30 years ago, Mary Mulvaney joined me, and she's been with me since. And then Ray Finan joined in 10 years ago. That's 2010. Yeah, so he's here just over 10 years. And I find working with other colleagues, I mean, just fantastic, because if you get sick or you want to go on holidays, you don't have to worry about how am I going to run things while I'm away. So then in March 2020, lockdown came and life changed. So as everybody else, on the 12th of March, I was shell shocked. I was actually in hospital that day. My daughter was locked down in Spain, and I had to arrange to close my practice the following day. So I got up out of my bed and came over, and then the journey started with the continuity voucher. Eventually came around, and I looked to see who would I take on board maybe to help me with that. And I had actually spoken to Colin and Paddy a couple of times at the CPP AGMs, not really making any contact with them, just to say hi, and was interested to see what they were doing. And then I had been following their Facebook page for maybe a year or so before that. So Colin offered to take me on, and this is what he got. So I run a very simple operation here in Sligo. We would have paper files, we have paper receipt books. I have a practice manager who works every day until 12 o'clock. And she really keeps the show on board for me from day to day, and would support me in a lot of personal ways as well as business ways. You know, can you ring this one or ring that one or whatever? So it gives me time to actually treat the patients and not have to worry about all the running details of the business. So I think it was in May, I started working with Colin, did a few calls, set out what we could achieve maybe with the continuity voucher. And I set up online payment, trading online, and set about putting a database together, which we finished today. And we have our 5,500 clients into the database. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't have email addresses because we wouldn't have picked them up, you know, over the years. But for the last, I think, 7 or 8 year patients, we have 5,500 now in the database. And moving on, then I took on the trading online voucher in about October,
October, November, yeah.
And we set out kind of the schedule of what we could achieve with that. And with that, then I put in a new website, upgraded it, And the previous one we had made ourselves through the enterprise board, so it was functional, but didn't look that flash, but we're a bit more flash looking now. And our next stage then will be when, obviously we're still in level 5 lockdown now, so we're only working at 30 to 40%. So I envisage when, I'd say March or April, we'll get back to maybe working at 80, 90, and then 100% hopefully again. So that's been my journey. I live in Sligo, I sail, I garden, I'm involved in community gardens, I'm involved with the environmental network here. I have grown up children and I have plenty of time to spend doing the things I want to do at this stage of my life. I work from 9 to 3 every day, and obviously then have to do maybe some book work or office work from time to time, but I haven't worked any evenings since 2008.
Brilliant.
My mother was ill at that time, so I decided I wouldn't work any evenings. I was looking after her, and I never went back. And my colleague Mary that worked with me, I said to her one day, Mary, why are you working evenings? You could work, 3 mornings instead of, 2 evenings or 1 evening, whatever. So she packed up evenings, and we may have lost a few clients, but it's a better life-work balance when you get on in years that you have your evenings free.
Brilliant. And Shirley, thanks for sharing all that information. It's great. And obviously having you in the PracticeNav, I suppose, community, in the PracticeNav Plus community, with the calls that we have on a Monday morning, we would find your insight really, really valuable, because obviously your experience of doing so much since, like, even before a lot of the people in that group were born in the industry. So how do you find those Monday morning calls?
Well, I always nearly clock in on the Monday at 11:30. I try and leave that hour free. I'm interacting, I suppose, with people maybe, I wouldn't say half my age, but maybe I won't say. And I've enjoyed the experience, and I'm interested to see how they're getting on in life and see how they're operating their businesses. Some of what they're doing isn't for me, and hopefully I'm planning to retire next year. So I find maybe a lot of the programming and way they work as regards, messaging people all the time and being involved in WhatsApps and different things, it's not for me at this stage, but I can see the benefit of it. And I think that the group share a lot and get huge benefit from the advice they get from yourself and Paddy and each other. And I think we've a good support group there for each other. If I had a problem, I know I can ring any of the guys that are on the call privately. And in fact, I have contacted 2 of the members privately over issues, which has been a help. I've been very fortunate because when I qualified as a physiotherapist, we were on the start line for a lot of things, working with teams. I worked with Athletics Ireland for 20 years, Sligo County Board, various groups. And the girls that I started working with we're also on that line, and we've been great support for each other. Like, I have 3 physiotherapy friends and colleagues at the moment that I still would bounce things off, and you need a support group if you're in business, either working on your own or running a business and have other people working for you, or self-employed in your business. You definitely need support from other people.
And Shirley, what would you say maybe the 2 biggest changes that you've noticed in your business, or that your business has developed maybe since working with us?
I've more structure, and I definitely find I am more organized in the way I'm going to approach the sale of my business, hopefully within the next year to 18 months. I suppose maybe before I joined PracticeNav, I kind of felt, I'll put it up for sale and see what happens. But now I feel I have a structure. I know the value of it. I know the value of my database, my premises, my rental income, and hopefully I'll be able to achieve that when I go to market.
Brilliant. Yeah, looking forward to that process. And with regards then, like, there definitely has been a massive structural change there, and we can go, right, this is what this is, this is what this is. Whereas before it would have been, this is what I think this is.
Yeah, well, it's like I had a box and it was full of bits and pieces. Now they're all in little boxes in the box.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a really good way to describe it. Yeah.
Okay. So I can dip into the filing cabinet now and pull out a certain thing, and I know what's in that file. Yeah, I'm not looking for things here and there. Yeah.
What you need.
I'm more organized. Yeah, my mind is more organized. But it's been a very difficult year for us all, and I suppose I've enjoyed the free time I had, especially with family during lockdown, and probably never have that again, you know. So there's been benefits and problems during lockdown. I have availed of all the opportunities that were there for funding, from the trading online voucher, the continuity voucher, the restart grants, and my secretary is on the wage. Is it Twist? I never know the name of it.
Yeah,
So,
the EWSS.
yeah.
So,
so I have availed of anything that was.
and that's the beauty of the group. I think you're great to share information about all the supports that were available, which is fantastic. So really appreciate that from all the PracticeNav Plus people. They think you're really good in that regard. And say if you knew someone who was potentially thinking about, oh, should I work with PracticeNav, or is it the right time for me, or I'm not really sure about if I should pay someone to help me, or if I should invest or whatever, what would you say to those people?
I suppose it depends on where they're coming from. You know, like if they're setting up a business and maybe have worked for another private practitioner for 10 years, 15 years, they probably have a lot of grounding in the basics themselves. If there's somebody new and they don't have support, definitely I would say, you know, the benefit them to join the group, because they will get a wealth of experience from the other physiotherapists as well as yourself. And as you say, if you ask questions, somebody's bound to know the answer or have gone through it, you know, at some stage. For me, I suppose it was different because I looked for your help when the continuity voucher came on board. Not sure if I would have looked for it otherwise, but I'm very glad that I did. And personally, it's been a fantastic experience for me, and I have benefited from your experience, plus the experience of the other physiotherapists in a lot of different areas.
No, appreciate you giving that feedback, Shirley, because as we said, it's been great having you. And no matter where you are in the journey, I think there's that starting off phase, and then you've been in it maybe 10 years, 12 years or whatever, and you're like going, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here anymore, or what the plan is going forward as regards pension structure, maybe investing in a clinic or that sort of stuff, or investing in a property like what you done. I think it was 96 you mentioned. And it's having the I suppose the sounding board for that, to reach out and go, yeah, here's what you can do, here's what you shouldn't do, and then it's up to the person to make the decision. And then I suppose it's the other end of the career where you're looking at that exit strategy. I think that's where we're heading for with your setup, is like, okay, positioning in a place where you're going to get the best return for the asset that you put in all those years for. So yeah, thanks for sharing.
And of course, the other thing that I did during lockdown was I revamped the whole practice, which was a fantastic thing for me to do, because took up the carpets, changed the door handles, put up new lighting, and brought the business right up to what needs to be for COVID and going forward. And before that, I had, you know, planned to do this, that, but it just never seemed to get around to it. And, you know, to have had the business closed for whatever it was, 6 or 8 weeks, got the builders in, moved the wall. And I feel now that, you know, if somebody was interested in, you know, coming in and working here or buying or whatever, I have a lovely practice now, and, you know, the furnishings and everything are just spot on.
100%, yeah, and definitely looking forward to getting up there and visiting that practice once we get out of this lockdown. So Shirley, thanks again for taking the time today. Really appreciate that, and I will see you on the call on Monday.
You will. Thank you. Bye, Colin.
Bye-bye.